In today's video, I'm going to share why buyers can seem utterly irrational, why they don't close the sale even when it makes complete, logical, total sense for them to do so, and I'm going to tell you how you can overcome this emotional mess that buyers often find themselves in so that you can win more business and crush your sales target. Hi, I'm Will Barron, founder of salesman.org, where we make selling simple. We break down selling into basic building blocks and then tell you how to assemble them for success. If you want to know more about what we do, just click the link in the description, and with that, let's jump into the video. So, have you ever been in a sales meeting where everything is going perfectly? The potential partner needs your product desperately, they've got the budget, all the decision makers are in the room, yet the deal falls through. This happens because the potential partner is thinking most of the time emotionally rather than logically. And in this video, you're going to learn why this is and how you can switch on the logical side of your potential partner's brain so that they close the deal and of course you get paid. And to be fair, it's not just potential partners who get emotional when they should be thinking logically. All of us do it. It's human nature. It comes down to the way that the human brain is physically wired. Right, you see, making decisions using emotions is actually the default way of doing things. This is because the limbic, or the emotional part of the brain, comes before the frontal lobe, or the logical part of the brain, in its wiring. So let's take a look at this image on here, which will show you this very visually. So here we can see sensory systems with this converted to literal electrical signals. This is incredible, this blows my mind. You've got all these electric pulses bouncing around your body from all angles and all directions. It travels through your spinal cord and then it goes directly into your limbic system, the emotional part of your brain. Only then is it passed on to the frontal lobe, which is the conscious, logical side of your brain. So here's how it works. Everything that you see, that you smell, you hear, that you taste, that you touch, is picked up by our sensory organs and converted into electrical signals. These electrical signals are then fired towards our brain, passing from cell to cell, neuron to neuron, through our spinal cord, and eventually these signals travel up to your frontal lobe, which lives in your forehead. This is where rational thinking takes place. The issue is with all of this, well, it reaches the rational part of your brain after it's passed through the limbic system, and this is where instant, instinctual, and emotional responses are produced. This physical journey of firing neurons and electric currents passing through your body and your brain ensures that you experience things emotionally before you can then logically think with reason about the situation or the problem at hand. And there is constant communication between the rational and emotional parts of the brain, but it's just the emotional side that gets all the information first, which is why it always skews the output, the end decisions that we make towards that emotional side of things. So what we need to do is to rewire the decision-making system of our potential partners to be more like this. So here we've added an extra step of thinking about the initial emotional response that the potential partner wants to throw out into the universe whenever we try and close a deal with them. And we want to get them to consciously choose their next action rather than acting instinctively or acting with their guts, again, emotionally. Now, you can't stop someone thinking emotionally or even illogically, but you can always nudge them into consciously adding a second layer, our second layer here, of thoughts on top of these decisions before they say them and commit to them in the business environment. So to do this, we're going to start to mirror the emotional state and slowly drag it towards a logical one. Now, let's think of the sales process from the potential partner side of things, because this is something that very few salespeople do. If we did that, it would look something like this. So here they're going about their day, everything's looking pretty logical, everything's fine. Then they find an issue. Their colleagues see that there's a problem too, and the stress, we see it up here, the stress starts to rise and things start to get worse, and this problem becomes priority number one for them to solve. And if they don't solve it, the stress keeps piling on and shooting up the graph here. Eventually, the pressure is so unbearable that they reach out to a salesperson, or you've called on them or emailed them at exactly the right time, and for a change, they don't ignore you, they get back to you. And, well, all they want to do is jump all of this emotion, this stress, and this pressure onto your shoulders. They want you to come in, ring them up, get on the phone with them, whatever it is, and solve the now very emotional problems. But what do sales reps do at this point? At this point, they tend to meet the potential partner's high level of emotion and stress and pressure with logical qualifying questions. They pitch logical features and benefits. They start talking about logical things like money and how much it's going to cost the potential partner's company to solve the issue. When we do that, it looks like this. So here we can see the potential partner and you, the salesperson, on completely the opposite sides of the track with regards to logic and emotion. You're on the opposite side of the sales process, essentially. And this is crazy, and it happens so often. And it gets even worse, because even to the point that somehow the potential partner manages to reduce their own level of emotion and progress towards a logical conclusion to a sale, well then the seller starts getting emotional and moving away from the logical state that they started in. So they get this weird crossover point, and this all happens because the salesperson is getting nervous about doing the close, and hopefully at this point of the sales process, the potential partner is now getting logical about, this is how I solve my problem. So you get this weird crossing over point. So the salesperson and the potential partner, they're never on the same wavelength of any of this. So what you need to do to pull a potential partner from emotion to logic quicker, so that you can get the deal done quicker with less faffing around, is to meet them with emotion at the start of the sales process and then guide them through their turmoil. So it looks something like this. Here you can see that we're far more in sync with the salesperson and the potential partner, and this is going to lead to better conversations, and it's going to lead to more productive meetings as well. Now we achieve this and we get this alignment by going through the following 4 steps. Step number 1, we must use discovery questions to uncover the real emotional needs of the potential partner. Understand that they don't need a spade, they don't need a hole. The reality is that they have an emotional need or a stress that there's a dead body in their back bedroom they need to bury. They need to get rid of this stress. This is what you need to help them with. This is what you need to ask questions about. So not features, not even benefits, nothing along those lines. You need to help them unload their worry about whatever is stressing them out. So forget about features, benefits, and focus on their real emotional needs and desires. Step 2, you need to start to share industry knowledge and insights. Because at this point now, the potential partner, if you've asked good questions in step 1, they've started to flood their emotional needs all over you. Now it's time to mop it up with some industry knowledge. They're begging you, even if they do not say it directly, to guide them through solving this issue, but you need to show them, you need to prove to them that you're the person who can take them to the other side of it first. And we've got a video on uncovering industry insights to share with potential partners coming up very shortly, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Next up, part number 3, we need to transition into building a buying consensus. So at this point, the potential partner understands that you can help them. They know that you can heal their emotional wounds, and so they put their emotions to one side for a second. This is as we start to move up towards logic, which is clearly what we want if we want to get a deal done. Now they're taking their own emotions and they're adding a layer of conscious, logical thinking on top of it. At this point, you are also going to start to move towards a more logical state, and this is where your traditional sales process starts to happen. It doesn't happen here with logic, it happens as things start to pull up towards logic throughout the buying journey. And finally, step number 4, you need to close the deal with the closing 3.0 method. And we go super deep, 3 hours deep into closing 3.0 in the salesman.org training workshops. But basically, you're wrapping up the sale with a logical question along the lines of, does it make sense to do this? Now, the beauty of this question is that there's 0 chance for rejection. They literally cannot reject you at this point of the sales process by asking a question of, does it make sense to sign on the dotted line? Does it make sense to move forward with this? Either they say yes and the deal is done, or they say no, and then you just ask a follow-up question of, how come it doesn't make sense to move forward? There's no weirdness, it's a simple close, and it's a logical question that you're asking, which pushes you way up into logic, and it allows them to be logical back to you. And that is it. That is the 4-step process to drag someone from an emotional mess into a logical state where you can actually get business done. And to wrap up this video, I want you to just remember that humans are wired to be emotional first because of the physical cabling from sensory input to the different parts of the brain, as we touched on earlier. You have to understand that at the beginning of the sales process, the potential partner is going to be in their most emotional state. And as you now know, we can build deep rapport whilst guiding this individual from an emotional state to a more logical one, which allows us to close a deal by following these 4 steps. So we're going to use discovery questions to uncover the real emotional needs of the potential partner. We're then going to share industry knowledge and insights so that they can see us as a true professional, as a true industry insider. Then we're going to share industry knowledge and insights so they can see that we are a trusted advisor to them. We're then going to transition into building buying consensus with these individuals. And finally, we're going to close the deal with a closing 3.0 method of asking, does it make sense to you? Because this is an incredibly logical way to close the deal. And when you're both moving towards that highly logical state, the deals just come in. It happens. There's no emotions, there's no weirdness. Deals get done like that. So now you know exactly what to do when a potential partner is acting emotionally during the sales process. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and hit that thumbs up button and leave a comment below if you've got any thoughts on emotional prospects, emotional potential partners, and anything you'd like to share with Sales Nation. And with that, I'll see you in the next video.